Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French here on a French Workbench podcast Saturday, and we have a great studio.
I love this song, man.
You like this, huh?
Dude, we need to get some black lights going in here and be like,
thank you guys so much for the support. We've been getting a lot of support. This is the most real and behind the scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas. And this is through on-job experience in Las Vegas. We have a nice crew here today. It's a usual crew. We have a lot of people out of town, a lot of people that are out and they are traveling or they're visiting or doing something with family. I'm sure they got some other things going on, but we're going to still be trooping along. So I want to go right into it, guys. We have a great show. We have a lot of information. It's going to be a little bit of a different style show. I'm going to talk with Mr. Rick Rains, who's back. Rick, what's going on with you today, buddy? How are you?
Man, hanging in there. Did the gym this morning, got it out of the way. So I'm good to go. Let's hit it.
Yes, Jim, I went for my run. You know, you need to ask us to it, man.
He had those guns out last weekend, man. Are they out this weekend too, or did you put them away?
No, they're still here.
Listen, Rick's philosophy: sun's out, guns out.
That's right. I just want to see these guys arm wrestle.
Right.
Now that I'm on the other side,
He'll win, man.
Hey, let's look at Brett Jenny over here. Brett, red line. What did you do today, man?
No red line, my man. I went to coffee.
Oh, you went to coffee.
So I've drank red line forever, and you guys have harassed me to the point you make me feel bad every time I come here. Man, you're gonna kill yourself. I'm like the only guy. Well, before Rick got here, I'm the only guy that works out 7 days a week, and then you guys are telling me. But you know what? I thought about it, and it's probably not good to be like pumping that into my system all the time.
So Brett's going to be at an 11 today instead of a 12.
Hey, Brett, do you stack? Like, do you stack it with things? Like when you did Redline, were you like stacking it with
pre-workout?
Pre-workout, and you got coffee?
No, I mean, literally, it's because when I wake up in the morning, I just like to be awake right away. And I take Redline, and it's like, hello, what's going on, man? I mean, within like minutes. But coffee is kind of like, it's the difference between starting right off a whiskey or just easing yourself in from beer first and then whiskey.
Oh, wow. So
I just like start out like a full-blown alcoholic, but with my drinks.
All right. We also
what I'm saying is that's not always good for you, so I've been trying to be more moderate in life, and I just stick to coffee now.
Yeah.
We're proud of you.
Hey, listen, we're proud of you.
Yeah, right?
And we're taking
Thank you,
steps.
guys. Thank you.
And we love this, Brett. We need the energy.
Thank you.
You're taking the 12 steps. Good job.
12-step energy less program.
All right, let's get over here. Preston, what's up, buddy? You're back.
Doing, man? How
Dude,
you doing? I got my coffee today. So
you look more lively today.
I'll try and probably bring it this time.
You look bright and bushy-tailed today. Last week, man, you look like you just came from like the club, like you just got out of.
He did.
That was my secret in my office. If I ever like went out late or whatever, I would just try and dress up the next day, so like throw people off the trail.
Fake it till you make it.
It's like,
that's like my everyday.
Suited up. Why is he suited up so much? No.
So, guys, if you have not liked the channel or you hit the like button, please do so as you're watching the content. I know some people are probably just going to be tuning in or tuning in later. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. And we're streaming live from Las Vegas. We're going to talk today about iBuying or internet buying for homes. We're going to talk about the pros and cons with that. We're also going to talk about cryptocurrency and where that's headed today. And also we're going to talk with Mr. Rick Rains over here with the rental market and what's happening with rents, how they're skyrocketing. And a lot of investors continue to buy rental properties, and also they're buying many units to, they're foreseeing that a lot of people are going to be moving here in the future. And a lot of buyers and a lot of, we'll say, investors are buying into big unit buildings, multiple unit buildings. And what's the reason behind that? So let's get right into it. First off, let's talk about internet and what's going on with iBuying. So you got Zillow, you got Rocket Mortgage, you got Open House, you got Redfin, you got a lot of these corporations.
Then you got all the smaller people that are trying to.
Exactly. All these people here today
wholesaling.
Are looking at wholesaling, right?
Wow. Yeah.
They're looking at opportunities, right, to maybe buy a home or not buy a home, but sell a home and sell it where they're getting a little bit of less time, right, to sell the house. Maybe they're not getting as much for the home, but they're still selling the home. And so what happens is these corporations are coming in and saying, look, we're going to give you a flat fee. They're going to still charge you some money, but you're not going to go through the same real estate process where you have to list your home and go through the process of going through that long drawn out position of, okay, now I got to put my home on the market. I got to have people, walk into my house. I got to have multiple offers going on. Really what they're doing is they just handle everything. And this is starting to become a big wave of what sellers are doing.
So what it is a niche in the market, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really what it is they saw a niche in the market to exploit. And I can tell you that it's their game plan has changed a lot. So 4 or 5 years ago, I could always make the case with a seller who said, yeah, I'm thinking about listing my house, but I want to see what, OfferPad has or what one of these iBuyer programs, Zillow or something like that. And it used to be an easy sale on my side. I used to say, okay, great, they're going to make it convenient for you, but I can essentially make it just as easy, if almost as easy, only one open house and, whatever you want to do.
So the point is where I'm going with this, though, is they're trying to bypass and undercut the realtor, stating that they're going to give you a less fee or it's going to be less of a headache, but you'll still get your house sold. Now, the problem is a lot of these places like Open Door, like we said, OfferPad, we talk about Rocket Mortgage. Keller Williams is starting to get into the process of buying homes and trying to monopolize that. And you're saying, well, why are they doing this? They're doing it because they want to control the asset and they go right to the consumer, to the seller.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say before,
go ahead.
They just are building their database.
Was before. Here's why I'm saying this. Before 4 or 5 years ago, it used to be an easy sale for me to say, yeah, but they're going to give you 20-25% less than your market value on your house.
Right.
So even when you list it for 6%, you're still coming out on a hill. Now they're paying over list price. Like I have investors, cash investors on the side, always looking for a house to flip or investment property to buy. And I had a couple of sellers last month that had condos and said, hey, you know what? We're thinking about, we just want to get rid of this thing, whatever it is. I said, well, if you're going to go the iBuyer route, if you're going to go the Zillow route, let me have my investors, give a bid on this to see what it's going to come in at. And the investors that I know, granted, they're very stingy and conservative, but iBuyer, Zillow, OfferPad, almost every single one of them across the board
Going to be higher.
was paying basically over list.
I just looked at ours.
And they used to give you 25% less. Now they're paying over list price. That's how bad they want your property now.
What did you say, Preston?
I was just looking at our house, and they're asking 3.5% over what the estimate is.
There you go.
So, and that's just based off what they think they could sell for in the neighborhood.
So I would say, why are they, man? Why did they make a shift from that to willing to pay over right now? What's their view?
They're probably not getting enough properties. I mean, they're probably trying to run it and still not getting enough properties.
So if you're an investor and you make your money through investing with homes and you're paying over list price, what's that say?
Right.
I'm just saying, think about that.
You're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're also just building their database, right? And if they can flip all these homes over the course of 20 years, then they'll own the information on everything.
Correct.
Who's been there.
Absolutely.
And it's their own global system.
Exactly what he's saying. It's a long-term game.
It's like a data collection.
It's a long-term
business
game
as well.
So you're not going to go into the long-term game with something that you feel is going to crash.
So let's look at the pros. What do you think about it, Rick?
You'd wait till it crashed.
Rick needs to have an input on this. What's going on with you, Rick?
Well, the only thing that I can tell you is that some of the people that we're dealing with, what they still want, because the market is so hot, is a bidding war, and they want people having to compete. The last few deals that we did in our office were all multiple offers, and they all had to come in higher. And so Brett's right. The fact that that these companies are coming in, they're having to basically up the game in order to stay in it. It's
exactly.
It's that simple. Otherwise, they're not going to have any inventory. And if they're willing to pay the extra price and then wait 10, 15, 20 years in order to cash out, they're betting on the market staying strong.
They're in it for the long term. That's them betting and saying in the next 10 to 15 years, we bet that housing is going to stay up and unaffordable.
So let's talk about what I wanted to emphasize to everybody out there. So what are the pros and the cons, right? What are the positives about going to somebody like an internet buyer, like one of these corporations?
Well, I can tell you a real easy one. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Real easy one for me is cash.
Simplicity.
Next.
Yeah.
It's quick.
But
Simplicity,
I
it's
mean,
quick,
yeah.
right?
It's like,
Simplicity and cash.
Why does
What's
anybody?
next?
Why does anybody want to sell their car to CarMax, which gives you a very competitive offer? You just go there, take it there. 20
Simple.
minutes later,
Here's your money, here's your
here
check,
it is.
boom,
And
see
now
ya.
I don't have to. Maybe
Yep.
they give you 10% less,
Or give me a
20% less.
vin.com.
So is
but,
this, is
but
this
at the same time, right now, like we discussed last week, so many properties from individuals are going cash, and we already discussed that. So I think right now it's just the fact that they're having to compete in order to stay in the market.
Stay in business,
because,
basically.
Because everybody else is paying cash as well.
Dan, what percentage of your business do you think is that right now currently?
actually,
Or
it's not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. And that's a good question. I feel
What,
that
cash buyers? Or
No,
you
no,
mean
no.
iBuyers?
iBuyers.
iBuyers, we don't really have a ton of them, honestly. And so
Is it like 10%? You think? Not even.
not even that.
Well, a lot of them aren't reflected in the market because a lot of these aren't like MLS transactions. They're just someone buying it cash on this side. You can sell your house out going on MLS.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot of that happening that's not being, I guess, on the statistics that are associated with MLS.
There's another factor that you need to keep in mind, and the reason that you're in business, that all of us are in business, is there's still the personal factor. There's that trust factor, the person that you're listing with, as opposed to talking to whomever on the other end of the phone from one of these companies. There's not that interaction, and there's always going to be that doubt as to whether or not you're doing the
how
right
long
thing.
do we think that'll remain though? Because
Well, it's
the
like
next
anything else.
generation.
yeah, but
Yeah,
you know what
no,
makes
I
up for
agree
that
that.
real
I wonder
quickly?
if they're gonna-
over list price cash offer.
What's that?
Over list price cash offer.
I didn't hear the first part, but
Well, he's talking about like the trust that they have.
trust.
I agree, but I think that over list price cash offer makes someone say, "Well, I don't really need to have the greatest communication. I
Sure.
just need to know when I'm hell out of here my money."
yeah, that's true.
You know,
Well-
and I don't think a lot of them are not performing once they get in the contract.
Good point.
As far as iBuyers,
Well, I think it's two is how does it benefit the seller, right? Because the one where they're making the money is obviously they're controlling the asset,
Yeah.
and you're looking at them controlling as many assets as they can. If big corporations continue to buy up properties, then what is it going to do first off to the average person out there trying to buy a home? Now they got to go through a corporation, and now it's just going to be big entities owning a lot of these or having control
Yeah.
over these assets.
Apartmentization essentially of
Right.
neighborhoods.
And so I don't know if it benefits really, in my opinion, I don't think it benefits the seller because the seller, I'm not saying they lose all their rights to what they want to sell their house for, but I feel that there's going to be only so many entities that's going to be able to, at some point take control of the asset, like realtors right now. Realtors, that's a competitor to an average realtor like you, right, Brett?
yeah, absolutely.
Don't call him average.
Right? Well, he's not average, but
That's all right. I'm used to it.
yeah.
That's not the worst thing he said, right?
But I mean, it is. They are competitors to you. Now, you might be working for one of these companies if these things keep continuing to go, more and more. Where you starting to,
I work for whoever I make the most amount of money from.
Well, they might pay.
Extrapolate it out. Let's just say that this continues as a trend for years and years, and you've got all of the huge companies that are owning the vast majority of the marketplace. All right. Now, you as a buyer, first-time home buyer, has to go to Zillow or to Open House, and you're going to make your deal. Do you think the big company gives a rat's ass about you?
Yeah.
No.
And I think that's going to be a huge hindrance to
At the end
people
of the day,
trying-
all you are is a bottom line.
that's it, and they're
And that's
not
all
gonna
you'll ever
care
be. Yeah.
one way or another.
Well, and so you look at it from how they're coming into the market. You look at just overall, you look at the last frontier, I call it, of non-digital mortgages or non-digital, let's say, process of buying a home, because you're starting to see a lot of internet-based. Everything's connected. Like for
Because
me,
all it is information.
Well, you're going to be able
For
to
the
go
most
from
part.
like Zillow if you move, across town. That's one thing, right? But you can move from here to Albuquerque, and you probably still use Zillow. So you end up using it like for generations. I would think it just becomes this household thing, and very very normal.
And
People
you and
used
I
to
have
it.
had this conversation many times, which is they're making things so that the customer service isn't the same as if you're using a realtor, but that doesn't necessarily matter to a lot of people in this day and age. And we're and especially with your generation younger, he's like, people are always going to want to have that personal touch. I'm like,
Some people don't want to have the personal touch.
Well,
They
so
wanna see,
so there's
Frickin'
so
millennials, man.
so there's
Everyone's
always
blaming me
there's
here.
always going to be a segment of society. Don't get me wrong, that's going to want that personal touch. But I'm saying is by the day.
Yeah.
He's always like, they're going to want that personal. I'm like, no, they don't, dude. You talking to any millennials? They don't care. They want the transaction, the process to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and easy to use, and that's what matters most to them.
You're still going to need somebody that's going to guide the process, though, regardless.
Correct, but that can be done with an assistant on that website or AI on the website.
This may be an interesting
I'm
segue
just saying.
here. So I'm kind of thinking of this right now. So the whole stuff I want to talk about on NFTs and cryptocurrency and all that stuff, it leads into this like Web 3 scenario. So I guess we're in Web 2, and I'm still learning on all this. But and Brett, did you end up downloading a MetaMask wallet?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay,
Yep.
so you know how it's like in your
And I have a
browser?
trust wallet on there too. Just
All right,
in
well,
case.
don't give us your seed
Okay,
phrase.
anyways, I won't.
On the thing here, but no. So you like it's this thing that just like plugs into your browser. So eventually, if you're like that's where you hold all of your like right now you go to like Chase Bank, it doesn't communicate with Zillow that hey, I have the money in the bank, I've got great credit, XYZ. You still got to go submit this whole process and yada yada, right? So now if I keep all my money in my wallet online, I'm able to just say, all right, this is what my funds look like. This is, the credit history, whatever. Eventually this stuff's going to go onto the blockchain, right? We were talking about
we were talking about that.
title.
Yeah,
So now,
title.
So now you move this stuff. So these things are going to talk across
So it's in the
platforms.
deed. It's that title.
So-
Everything, the
so
whole
it'll-
history.
It'll
Yep.
just say here, okay, well, this guy can
Well-
afford it. This guy gets paid here. This is, and it just plugs
It'll
right
put,
in.
it'll put two and two together on every
so you won't
on
even-
every
it'll just
interaction
remove-
of it.
We all
Yep.
know. Let's go back for a second. I think we're kind of going a little bit too far
You
here.
see smoke coming out of
Because
Dan's ears.
You guys, you're taking this out of context of where I was going with this. Okay, so first
bring us
off,
back, bring us back.
Bring
Bring
you
us
back. All
back.
right, so
Bring
listen,
it down, brother,
I'm
to the
talking
promised
about
land.
what's the current changes. Yes, maybe 10 years, 5 years, maybe that does happen. We don't know, right? But it is changing every day. Yes, millennials will still want to have the opportunity to
Millennials.
Yeah, they'll try to not just millennials, the earlier generations
Zs.
from the millennials as well, right? So the point of what I'm trying to bring is that everything is starting to become internet based, and mortgages and buying a home is becoming easier for the average consumer out there, or a consumer that really doesn't understand the process. Now you can get electronically have your assets digitally come in, and you say, hey, you want to just connect to your bank account. The other thing is that you also look at, well, okay, now that I have the assets, what about my income? Is my job set up for the workforce, right? Or through the workforce number? If it's set up, they can literally go in if you're a W-2 employee and pull your information in. So a lot of this stuff is starting. It's going to be a process where you see processors, you see all these other departments in these industries. They're going to be gone because I think a lot of times
Because the point of a lot of these jobs is people don't understand that business. So if you set something up so that they can still function and do what they need to in that business without having to understand that business.
Well,
And-
why would you want to pay anybody if you like
Well,
you're on
right?
the business, right?
So-
if you can replace that
right?
and do more
So-
volume.
So, like, what was the rise of Zillow and all that? They were the first to take something that only realtors held, the gatekeepers,
right.
that information, and they made it public.
And let's be
people
honest,
said, now I can see the same information that realtors are seeing, and I can do my history on it, and I can do all those things.
a lot of times you can do better research than what you're going to get from a realtor, right? And you know what you want.
Absolutely.
You can look at your own pace and speed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I disagree with that because if you have tools, I'm not saying that they won't do their own research, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that partly that's true, but there's going to be tools and things that realtors are going to get because as the consumer gets more savvy, so does the technology for realtors and in general gets better.
So you make a point in that, but I got to interject on this because. So I will give you this, as far as a realtor knows how to interpret that information,
Yeah,
right?
and-
So
and
all
you're
the
more familiar
all the
with it.
information in the world is useless if you don't know how to
What do you-
interpret
what do
it.
you signed up with,
But
Brett?
what about
Hold
a
on.
world someday when AI can bring all that together?
What do you
based off
what
of
are you signed up with? What are you signed up with? Just the same thing I'm signed up with. What are you signed up? We're going to
MLS?
MLS.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So how much do you use the MLS?
Every day.
Okay. I use it.
How much do I use off of what I could use it for? About 10%.
There's so much information on there.
There's
right?
all these things you can do with
is
it,
this
yeah.
is this excluded from the average person out there that's looking for buying a home?
Not really anymore. Because of
No,
Zillow.
I would say it is because
I'd say
you
it
can't.
is.
The only thing that
Yes.
is the agent-to-agent comment section.
No, listen, dude. When you come on here, this is broken down, and I feel like it's broken down in a concise way where it tells you exactly what's going on with the market. It also gives you updates. Hold on.
You got to know how to break it down, though.
You do. I'm not saying, but listen, if
So
you're a
that's the
realtor,
talent.
if you're a realtor out there, though, this is a tool, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is not given to the average person out there.
So here's another issue that we discussed prior to the show with Brett. Both he and I do not subscribe, okay, to Zillow. We don't put our properties on Zillow. And that's another huge thing. There's a lot of realtors out there. When you look at all these properties, they are not on Zillow, okay, or any other platform other than the own broker's platform. And if any realtor has half a brain, they're going to fight against Zillow, not give them the properties. And that's what I brought up a few weeks ago, where Zillow's putting up anything that they can, even if it's not active, in order to look like they have a lot of properties. So that's a whole.
Well,
other
look,
issue.
you look at a lot of things. So we're talking really about the technology side of things with iBuying. We're talking about what's happening with how people can search for homes, and also what's really happening in the digital world and how it's changing. And I'm also going to put in that, you know, when you look at the digital side of things, it's changing in all areas. You know, you look at Zillow, I mean, not Zillow, but you look at Facebook, right? Your data is all your information is getting taken. All your information as far as like what people, you know, if you're signed up for that platform, great. In some cases, they've even proven that on a platform like that they're still taking your data. The same with mortgage companies. It's the same with other companies. You know, you look at people pulling credit. If I pulled somebody's credit, they can get all their information. They can literally call them in 30 seconds because that information is being sold.
Here's the thing, man. We are programming our own AI. We're programming our own AI, which is why it's going to be easy to implement AI once they have that figured out how to implement it with everything else down the road on anything. Because we programmed it ourselves, dude.
But isn't it
Just by our actions every day online of what we do, what we look at, everything. We've already told them what we are and who we are.
But I'm saying it's starting to transition. We knew, you guys knew this, right? I mean, this was already happening before, where you already knew that there were some platforms out there taking your data or taking your information. There would be no coincidence. Like if I'm looking for something with dirt bikes, that a dirt bike picture would show up when I go to another browser or I go to another place, right? It's because they gathered what you're looking for and what you're looking at. This is starting to come into the financing and real estate world. It's already been, but it's really starting to really come in where, you know, you got people's information out there.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be marketed like female products. Like I don't need that, right? Like so I don't.
Stop,
it's
stop
a waste
clicking
of,
on them.
No, I'm just saying it's a waste of advertising dollars, right? That was one time, it was an accident, and now that's all the ads.
Come
I
on,
get,
he was
right?
super drunk. You can't even count that, dude.
No, like,
Man, give him some respect.
so it is helpful in some regards, but yeah, on the other hand, it's like, okay, I already bought that product now, and I'm still seeing it over and over
Yeah.
and over. So
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
eventually it's probably just going to filter you the houses that you're looking for without you even requesting it.
That's-
It's just going to pop up.
Yeah, that's what I know.
It'll hear you talking about, oh, you're pregnant now, or
Dude,
something like that.
it's
Oh,
not-
you need another.
Yeah,
another,
it's not going to get dumber.
and all of a
It's only
sudden-
going to get smarter.
And all of a sudden, you're going to start thinking, oh, maybe I do need a bigger house, and you know,
Right?
Like, okay, all this
The
stuff
power,
that's-
the power of suggestion.
power of suggestion. There we go.
Sales
There you
101.
go, Yeah.
But I just
need
think
it.
our landscape is changing, is what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
And you look at
100%.
and you look at how are we going to adapt, and I think that's what we're trying to do. And you look at the pros, and you look at the, you know, what's the negative part of somebody coming in and saying, like, if you're one of these corporations, you know, they're going to continue to keep coming. I don't see anything stopping where there's going to be more big names out there, not just Keller Williams, not just these, you know, Zillow, not just, you know, iPad. I mean, there's going to be other companies that's going to come in,
And
corporations.
I think like anything else, you just, it's like any business, stay afloat, man. You got to make yourself relative.
Yeah, somebody's
So
going to come in and dominate.
so it's going to change. So it's incumbent upon you.
Somebody
I'm
will
speaking to
screw up.
realtors.
Somebody
Yeah.
will screw up, and it'll leave an opening for somebody else.
Yeah,
to come
it's
in and do
incumbent
it
upon
better.
realtors to find a new role if that's where it goes, or to make ourselves valuable.
do you think,
know?
that-
I mean,
do you
it's
think
incumbent
they'll
upon
survive?
yourself.
Do you think they will survive?
I think it's like anything, any change, man. There'll be winners and losers.
Okay, so some of these companies, you think if they do business, if they're business savvy, they will stick around. Talking about the internet buyers,
Yeah,
right?
I think any business. I mean, you look at company. Let's take something regular like General Electric or Ford Auto. I mean, these companies are diversified into other businesses too, and have other things on their portfolio because they've managed to survive for 100 years by keeping up.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty,
mean,
like, okay,
dude,
so
things
Tesla's
weed themselves out.
Tesla's putting Bitcoin, right, and
Yep.
on their balance sheet, and
Yep.
what was it?
Michael Saylor.
Yeah, well, he's like super.
Well, he's like that's like
he's
50% of the business
super
now.
his own thing, but was it Twitter?
Jack Dorsey.
Yeah,
he's
put
got
that on
like
their balance sheet.
150 million. Yeah.
They're big. So, but it's become stable, and like more and more people are going to do that. Visa just bought a CryptoPunk, an NFT, for I don't know, it was like 40 Ethereum or something.
And
like
you
that.
know what? That sounds ridiculous, but after having lunch with him the other day, it totally makes sense. Like the way you explain. So we'll have to talk about that a little bit later. Of why that makes sense.
what is the negative process, or what is the negative parts, would you say, of a seller using an internet-based company to sell their house? Rick?
The only thing is that you're not giving open competition a chance. You decided right away that, oh, I'm just
just
going to do
accepted
this.
the
And
offer.
you just
Yeah.
accept it, and I'm out of here.
100% true.
Never
And-
accept the first offer, right?
And you're not giving yourself
Well.
a chance.
Yeah.
As far as
Well,
highest price, so on and so forth.
So every company's obviously in it to make a profit, and sometimes they're like, "Well, we'll sell your house for $2,500," but then they're still making money from the sale of the house as well. So I think they're still making their money. They're just really undercutting the realtor, probably making a little bit more, in my opinion, towards the sale of the house, even though it's a less sale up front towards the side. Because look, man, when you go put these offers in, if you look at the buyer side, because the seller's the one that pays the commission for the agents.
Yes,
right.
for
And
both
so,
agents.
Right. And so when you look at a lot of these MLS sheets, a lot of this information that you're seeing is that the buyer agent, if you bring a buyer to say like Open Door, you bring it to, let's say, like Zillow or somebody that has one of these properties, they're not making as much commission, and they're
You wanna
really
know
reducing it quite a bit. What?
Something bigger than that, Zillow has their own contracts now. So that means if you have a buyer that wants to write on a property that's listed and owned by Zillow, you have to use Zillow's offer to purchase contracts. And I can tell you, they are not set up in your favor as a buyer.
Right.
In fact, my broker for the longest time was like, you're basically saying, here's a disclosure to have your buyer sign that says that they're aware they're writing on a Zillow property and they're writing on an offer that's not set up for them in any shape or form.
And
But
should read their contracts.
They should, but this is what I'm. These are the little increments that I'm
guys
saying.
don't read your
as
iTunes agreements?
Zillow and OfferPad and iBuyer start to take over, it's about controlling the market long term, and you can start to do things like that when you start controlling a market.
when they
need to
sell
use my
it, then they
forms
can
now.
go back
You need to.
and they can go purchase it again. They'll know
Yep.
exactly what they've sold.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
is it about
Yep.
convenience, right? Because we talked
That's
about
100%
millennials, right? That's what it's
Yep.
about. Millennials.
Convenience.
And it's not about, hey, I got to put my house on the market. I got to really set it up. I got to go through the process of getting pictures done.
Think about it. You're a regular seller. I'm going to list my house. It's like I'm moving across country. Okay, I know I'm moving across country, but what about that seems fun? You know how much work and organization and you got to do, and then nobody looks forward to things like that. Let's just be honest.
and then to fly into town and have to go
nobody
look at
looks
the
forward
house
to
and all
that, man. So you can make it convenient and give them top dollar. What's to think about?
Do you think that there's an old school thinking in some younger generations where we don't want corporations to take over, right? And I'm not saying that
Correct.
but there's a big portion of that. I feel that even like if
They
I
want socially
I'll give you an
conscious
example.
ones to take
if
over, and they
if
get
I was going to
rewarded
go
for
buy a
that.
house and I was not a realtor or lender, right? And I went out and I was going to buy a house and I had an option. I said, you know what? I can choose an iBuyer or a company to represent me. Even if I might save a little bit of money here, I might lose money on the sale of the house. Or would I want to support a realtor or a lender or somebody that's in the business for themselves? Look, everybody's going to look out for themselves.
Yeah, I don't think people care
I do.
two shits about.
I do
about
because
are
I think
realtors getting business or not.
What do
I'll
you
just
think,
be honest
Preston?
with you. It's just my experience.
I would like to think that people think like that, but I don't think that there's enough people that think like
Yeah.
that. Obviously we're close to that business because that is our business,
Yeah.
and we think about it's like in the service industry. They overtip like everywhere they go, right? Because they understand that business and so on and so forth. So it just depends. I think we might be a little too probably close to that.
Is it
scenario
lack
to
of
make that
education because people just don't know what their homes would sell for, and they're like, you know what, you're telling me you can do all this and I don't have to do anything, but yet they might have left $15,000, $20,000 on the table, right?
So
Rick?
now you're going back to what I was saying before about proving your value. I don't think that people care about realtors, whether they get paid or not or have business or not. What they do care about is their best interest. So if you can insert your value of why they should use you as a realtor because they're going to get more money and whatever it is, then that's incumbent upon the realtor. But
I think,
but I don't think that's people are like, oh well, you know, I really want to give to my local economy, so I'm going to I don't think that's a thought.
Well, it's not about local economy. It's like, look, it's a matter of just opening your mind a little bit. Are you going to support somebody's family? Or are you going to support a corporation? And I think
it comes down to them getting the most amount of money, period, whatever scenario that is.
Correct. But there's a compensating factor. If it came down to it, and I'm looking and I'm running the numbers, and the numbers are comparable, right? Or even they're a little bit off, I'm still going to go and support whoever that is and what they're trying to accomplish. Because, look, man, like you said, yes, it's the service industry, and if you were in the service business, but I think it's common sense too. Like, well, if somebody's going to work for me and I'm paying for something, they're probably going to work a little bit harder than say, hey, I'm just going to collect assets like an iBuyer. Yeah. You're just a number.
You're going to get better.
Well, that's what we need to tell, we need to communicate this because a lot of people don't know
that's the thing, right? So yeah, you're going to get 10 times better service with a realtor. You're going to get hands-on attention. You're going to get
you have somebody
everything.
To.
Yeah, you have someone to talk to, someone to take your texts, your calls 24/7 sometimes.
How about if you think about it, if there's a blip in the transaction and you're dealing with an iBuyer, do you think that they're going to think of you in your best interest?
Correct.
Look,
no.
I went through one.
But OfferPad and
that
do a great job of marketing and advertising so that people don't think that.
Look, I went through one right now.
They do.
I went through an iBuyer myself, right? And I was going through the process. And these people, very
don't you want to
good.
support
What are you doing in
people?
this room, man?
Listen, I was
Get
representing the buyer. They wanted to go buy the house.
You tell them not to buy it then.
Right? Don't buy. Abort.
Steering, there's nothing wrong with that.
Steering.
So the reality though
That's
is
a joke.
They do good service. Like they're not saying, I'm not sitting here saying that they're just like they're not going to not communicate with you. I just think that is the intention's best interest for the iBuying company, or is it the buyer of the home? No, it's not. So if you have a buyer agent, they're representing the buyer. They have the buyer's best interest. So they're always going to try to get the best deal for that buyer. Same with the seller.
Yeah.
I think there's an ulterior motive that you look at the situation, and if the seller is, let's say, hey, you know what, I want to get 25,000. How do they say, well, I don't know if I can do that? Because you got to think that they're probably budgeting a lot of this information in as far as, can we sell it for this? Can we really go above this price? And what is our profit margin? And they're probably thinking about that first, then say, hey, I'm going to make sure that my person I'm representing is good. Right. So that's the benefit, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, why not?
100%.
We're still talking about
I'm
this.
fighting.
I don't know what we're fighting
sounds
for.
good. Dan's a one-man army.
Yeah.
Well, look.
We're just sitting on the sidelines having a beer, and he's out there like showboxing himself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just kidding, man.
For the clients.
I know.
No,
I mean you're right. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. It's listen, I think the first and foremost for probably 9 out of 10 sellers is getting the most amount of money. Now, if they can get that most amount of money with a personal touch and a realtor who's going to be there and support them and answer their questions, and they feel like they're getting good service, then absolutely they're going to choose that over the other one. But I think first and foremost for probably most sellers, especially in what everyone keeps on saying, seller's market, is getting the most amount of money. And OfferPad and all these other that have these commercials out there do a great job of not letting people know.
Here's the difference. It's not just these companies. It's now you got real estate companies like Keller Williams getting involved. Zillow is not really a real estate company, but they try to get, which is kind of crazy, they tried to get a MLS number.
They're a broker now.
No, they got denied. They got denied, and there was a lawsuit that came out that said, we're going to take a look at this where you can't, LVR, right?
Dude,
hold on. LVR.
I'm in a property right now with a buyer on a Zillow property.
Okay.
They own it and they're the brokerage.
What I'm saying is
Zillow.
They're trying to become a real estate agent using the MLS and having access to that.
They do.
No, not here in Las Vegas. There was a lawsuit that's gone on that came out and stated that this lawsuit has said we're going to hold off on this. So my thing is this. If you look at the iBuying and you look at the position that a lot of these people are in, I feel that it's a great opportunity. If it's convenient, you got to move quick and all these things. But I don't think it's the final solution if you're trying to maximize the profits in your home.
Another thing to keep in mind is that this type of thing has been going on for years and years. The banks have wanted to get into being in the same position that Zillow's in right now. And the government, the powers that be, have shut down banks for years and years, and they won't let them. They will not let them do it, and for various reasons. And one is the fact that they understand that they don't want to push realtors out. They don't want to have them die off. Okay, they don't want that industry to shut down and close. So I think there's going to be some resistance against iBuying and the total expansion of this in the future. I'm not saying it's not going to go there, but I think that there's going to be significant pushback.
Well, you guys enjoy that in your residential world. I feel like it's a lot harder in the commercial
Well,
world. to
you know
penetrate
what?
with that-
Listen,
with the
Yeah, it
situation.
is. Yeah.
So
In contribution to that, though, I also think that there's a lot of things that's going on, like
Good luck with that.
identity theft.
Thanks,
where
bro.
look, we have a lot of companies out there right now that are taking information. I'll give you a quick example. If somebody gave me a loan application and I pulled credit, they can get all their information and it's sold to another mortgage company. That mortgage company is now marketing them. Now they're calling them directly. And is this going to continue to happen? Absolutely. So you look at, like I said, we were talking about Facebook. The information that's out there and the information that's available is now going to become a position where it's going to be oversaturated for a lot of these companies, and they're going to get this information. Identity theft is running. I mean, you think about it like we talked about with Facebook. They did a survey, and they had a 12-year-old kid on there that had no information on Facebook, but had almost all of his information about who he was, what he was interested in, and everything else. But yet it's just data that's put on the side, and they're not going to use it, but they still get it. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, well, why would this not go directly into the mortgage industry or in the real estate industry,
will.
right? And it's already happening.
Yes.
So you're starting to see problems. What do you think about that? Do you think that's identity theft, Rick?
I think people should. I'm sorry to interrupt.
no,
but people should have the rights to sell their information, and people should actually get paid for the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're using my info, I should get paid for it.
Hey, the
That's
genie,
where things are
the
going.
genie is freaking out of the lamp, man.
Yeah.
It's not like you can put it back in.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can stop.
So look at
it.
But you pay for convenience, right? Like,
Just tell the teenage girls no more TikTok.
how nice is it?
Watch the world end.
How nice is it that your phone will tell you like how far your work is now, or like
Yeah.
where you parked your car? Like, there's certain things like that's what you pay for.
Wait
the
till they start
little luxuries in
microchipping
life.
you.
Well, look,
You got your
let's
vaccine?
go
No.
back. Hold on, let's go back to
what's
this.
going to.
Do you feel like
don't wanna have my
do you
conversation
feel
with me
that there
about
was
that.
identity theft if let's say I pulled mortgage on one of you guys, right? A mortgage application. Do you feel that if some other company calls you and you didn't give them authorization to do that, is that identity theft? What do you think, Preston?
Identity? No, that's not identity.
Why
But
do you
that's-
think that?
That's just selling your information. I mean, identity.
Yeah, but
theft
you
is
gave that in-
stealing.
but you-
Identity theft is
Hold
using
on.
that person's information to like get credit cards and
Listen,
money.
did you? But if I was a
Pretending to be
consumer
that
out there,
person.
I didn't give that other mortgage company the authority to do that.
Or
right?
did you?
That's not identity theft.
Well-
That's called a lead. And
No,
those are legal.
Let me explain. So there's a company, there's like, it's called CBC, or there's like these credit agencies, right, that
Yeah.
hold this information. They're the ones selling it. For me, if I would see it like this, though. If I'm a person out there, putting my information in, and let's say that all of a sudden ABC Mortgage calls me, I didn't give my authority to have ABC
So-
Mortgage pull my
And what I'm
information.
saying is, did you read everything that you signed?
Yeah.
Well,
So
if it's digital, how do you know that they did read something? Or what if there is nothing that comes out?
That's what I'm saying.
Or
Is that
furthermore, it throws no laws in place, getting them in trouble.
And I think
What are
that's
you
the
gonna-
point.
what are you gonna
The
do
point
about
is,
it?
I don't know if
What are
there's
you gonna do
anything
about
in
it?
place.
So
to
like he said, we're going to a world of it should be a matter of you have a right to sell your information if you want, but it should be a choice, number one, and number two, you should get paid for your information.
More companies are trying to be
yeah.
cognizant of that because that's become a more pressing
100%.
issue. People are more aware of it now. It's not a big issue. You don't know what you don't know, right? Now we
Yeah.
know. Oh my gosh, well that's kind of embarrassing that
I don't know, man.
you
That would
more
piss
about
me
than-
off, man. If I got somebody that I pulled
You know more
credit
about
and then
me than
somebody,
me.
Yeah.
because look it, what if I don't know if they pulled my credit, like what if somebody's calling me going, hey, how does somebody randomly call you after?
Don't
like,
worry,
a
Dan. They're
day?
not calling people with 450 credit scores. I'm just kidding. But I'm just kidding.
455. You
Oh,
lost.
sorry. I was off with Whoa,
He
big
went to-
baller over
he
here.
went and saw Tony.
Big baller, big baller, big baller.
That's right, Mr. Tony Gutierrez. He's not here today. So
Went saw Tony.
I think, right?
You're like 30 seconds behind.
I know, man. It's the coffee delay.
That's the coffee delay.
If he was drinking Red Line, he would be
He'd
all over it.
over it.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
At least I laughed.
let's kind of finish finish up this topic, I feel that this is going to be there's good and bad. I think it's more good, or I'm sorry, more bad than good for somebody that's buying for iBuyers, right? For internet buyers or companies that's coming in and representing sellers. Because I don't feel, I mean, unless you have to, sell quick because you got to leave the state. Maybe you got a job offer, like you guys were saying, or something. I don't know. And to me, I don't feel like there's ever a point where, because you got to think about it.
There's clearly
Everybody's
a market
in it
for it, right?
There
There's
is.
clearly a market for it, and that's why it's there. And
Yep.
it may be against your best interest. It may not, depending on your situation.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
That's my 100% PC fence sitting answer.
I like it. I can
Middle
get
of the
behind
road.
that. I
Love
can
it.
get behind that.
All right, let's get over there to Rick. He's going to give us the market update. Rick, what do you got for us this week, man?
Okay, let's keep it simple. For sales, basically for the week went up approximately 2.4% overall. And rentals went up 7.5%. So last week we had a huge discussion on whether or not the market is expanding. Obviously it is, and it went up almost 10%, expanded.
So we're saying more inventory on the
More
markets.
inventory on the market.
Good stuff, man. And so, like, what is the average months for rent right now as far as the month supply? Do you
For
have
rent?
that?
No,
No,
I
not
don't.
for rent. Month supply. Sorry. What's the month supply for buying a home?
How many?
Probably a month and a half.
About a month and a
so
half.
I'd say yes, we are increasing, but we got a long ways to go, baby.
Double? Is it supposed to
Long
be 3
ways to
6
go.
months? It's supposed to be 6 months or 3 months?
It should be 3 to 6 months.
6 months,
We have a
okay.
month and a half.
Well,
We got-
and-
so
and-
we're
and I've-
increasing, yes, but we got a long ways to go.
And in
dude.
other segments, I've talked about not having enough months supply is contributing to why builders can actually not just materials, but keep increasing the prices of homes because there's no competition,
yes.
right? So
Supply
what
and
else you got?
demand.
What else you got, Rick?
As far as
The market updates. Keep going.
pure statistics.
Yep.
For the most part, interesting from a rental standpoint, moved towards the east side opposed to the west side. So that was kind of interesting.
What has?
The available properties on the east side of town went up almost 10%.
Wow.
So again, a little shift from last week over that. As far as in my office goes, believe it or not, I have one property that's been on available for 3, maybe 4 days now at $1,700, and it hasn't been taken. So that
Wait,
gives me
3 days?
Yeah, it's been 3 days. So
What is wrong with
that's
this
unusual.
property? I mean,
And
Is it
no
on the
roof.
east side?
There is no roof.
No, it isn't on the east side. It's on the west side.
Okay.
electricity
Call
every
it
other
open
day.
air.
Look, here's the reality, though. I think I've seen information, or I've talked to quite a few people about
Alternative camping.
The east side may have the opportunity of increasing in value because they're putting in a lot of projects or potential projects, and as you upgrade that area, so does property values keep going up. They're even talking about possibly moving Nellis Air Force Base. I've heard that out there.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that
To where?
information.
Is that
I don't know
possible?
yet. Yeah, I mean it's not. I don't think it's
freaking huge.
Yeah, I know.
think
That's
you
what they
just-
talk
I
about.
think you just build another one. You don't.
I have a feeling it might be like a multi-year project because
Oh wait, the government's doing it.
No, they had. They said
I meant multi-century project.
no. They said guaranteed move in 60 days. So
Or we'll buy your base.
right.
They're going to use an iBuyer, right? they got it on Zillow. They'll just.
They're using iBase.
So look, at the end of the day, though, like you look at the east side, you look at that. What areas do you see that's really increasing over here, Rick? Like we know properties in certain zip codes. I know Henderson, like the
Henderson always does well. Summerlin always does well. Up really far north, up off of Ann, up in again, Upper Summerlin does really well. So that's where most of your action is.
Yeah, I heard that North Las Vegas starting to thrive out there. You got a lot of stuff way out there that's going on the other
A
side
lot
of the
of new
215.
communities though.
Yeah.
which is good. You know.
I'm
I mean,
looking at
every-
stuff out there
Are you?
just to try and get ahead of it because by the time you in commercial, you gotta. The only place you can buy land, it's like too late by the time you want it.
Yeah.
It's
So go ahead, Rick. What else you got for us?
That's about it. Other than the fact that unfortunately, Brett, sales townhomes were almost 6% increase, and single family residence 2.5%, condos 0%. So that gives you an idea as to what's becoming available. 6% increase in townhomes. So that's
Condos with garages.
condos with garages.
You got anything else to elaborate on that, Brett?
No, I mean those are the facts.
Those are the facts.
Can't argue facts, man. I mean, there's nothing to interpret.
Right,
They are what
right.
they are right there.
Well,
So,
I think too you got to look at let's look at some of the data that we see. I mean, I know it's kind of, but single family residence homes, let's look at that real quick. I think we
go
had
back to that graph.
Yeah, well, we'll go back to that graph, but let's go and show what we see. So basically, I'm looking at how many homes do we got here? 4,755 single family residence homes. That's not bad. We were at a point, let's say a month and a half ago, it was like 3,500. Right? Would you say about a
So
month
we
and a
should
half?
still be 15 to 16,000. So yes.
No, I mean, look.
you're correct
It's not
in a
where
sense.
it's at. Of course. I mean, we're not going to get there
Yeah.
overnight. It's not going to be a 60-day
So
process.
it's more positive than negative, but only moved the positive meter up a point or two.
Now they say the median sales price, right, is this says it's 338,000. Is that what you're seeing for existing homes out there, or is it a little bit higher? Because I've heard
Higher.
I heard it was about 405.
Most of them are higher. Most
Right.
of them are about 450. I would say the average price point right now is probably between 425 to 525
Let's look at
slash
this.
550.
Let's look at the single family residence. So it's a little bit higher, but it doesn't come in where
At least what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. So let's look at somewhere. Let's look at I don't know, 2,000 to 25. That's a pretty good average for a home. Right now we're looking at about 8,895 homes. This is new listings. Is that right? Is that right for that month? I mean, because that seems like it's a lot, man. 8,000.
I can't
The
see.
total amount of homes listed in single family residence.
New listings.
Yeah, new listings. It
Yeah.
says it's 8,895. So
Can be.
that's what it's saying. I don't know. Is that wrong?
That's wrong. Because
Okay.
we just looked at the figure
Well,
for everything to be
taking
4,000.
consideration that you're going off of property from the week before, so there may be more listings coming on the market, but there's also a bunch that are being sold.
Well, mine's as of last night. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I mean is, okay, so that's the number of listings, 8,000. But how many of those are now off the market or
Right.
like that, so that's how many came on the market in the month of August.
So
But
let's-
how
let-
many are actually on the market right now is what matters.
Let's look at the closed sales. This is all homes. This is not just
Yeah, look at the closed sales.
That's 38,000. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad
What?
for homes sold in August.
38,000 homes?
Yeah, that's not bad.
3,800.
No, look,
38,000.
look,
So-
38,000. This is all types. This is all sizes right
Okay.
here. See, 38,954.
Okay, and then how many were on listings for new listings?
For new listings,
Yeah, in the month of August.
you had 43,000. That doesn't seem right. You know what I
See,
mean?
that's what I'm saying.
Well, look, let's look at the days. Days on the market is 9
Let's
days.
use
Is that accurate?
data we know how to interpret.
So first of all, I think that stuff, that the figures are accurate. What happens is that it's always coming in and always going out.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at the figures that I'm showing you, that's just at the end of the week. That's just one
Yeah.
snapshot of that day.
What matters is what's-
you could have huge fluctuations happening
Yeah.
all the time.
What matters is what's actually supply in the market, and you can see that line going down, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, I see it going
I
down.
don't have my
but
glasses on, but that's going down.
I want
right?
it to go up.
I know. So
Brett,
when you sit there and we say, "Oh, more homes are coming on the market,"
well, look,
let's look at the reality of it.
Rick, you did the data, right?
Well, I did the data, which just shows from what was available last Saturday to what's available this Saturday, but it doesn't tell you what happened during the week.
Right.
You could have had 100,000 listings and 100,000 sales.
Yeah.
Close.
They wash
It doesn't-
themselves out.
You wash yourself. Yeah, it washes it out.
Preston, what's the average sale price now for a home?
He doesn't know. Dude, he does commercial.
You want to talk about restaurants? I got you on restaurants.
Let's talk about NFTs and crypto now.
I'm
We got
shopping
15
around on
15 minutes
Spring
left.
Mountain.
All right,
we got
listen.
15 minutes left.
I've been bird dogging Spring Mountain. I can talk all about retail rates around Spring Mountain.
Yeah.
You want to talk
Let's
about
talk
that?
about cryptocurrency.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency.
Let's
Brad.
do it,
Go
man.
ahead, man. What do you got to tell us about cryptocurrency?
Well, cryptocurrency is going. No, man.
We
Mark,
had a good lunch the other day, man.
We
It
did.
was
We had a great lunch.
who bought lunch?
connecting. Brett.
I did.
Thank you so much,
Well,
sir.
of course. If I'm going to ask you to lunch, I'm going to pay for it, man.
It was a plug for Esther's Kitchen. It was very good.
Yeah. And plus, I'm the one that's trying to abstract information from you. So lunch is pretty. Lunch is pretty cheap for the information I got.
Trust me, it was no such thing as a free lunch, right?
Was it
I
a
still
cheap
had to
date
hang
or
out
was it
with
an
him.
expensive date, Brett?
Nah, it was well worth date, right?
I'm worth it. Yeah.
For the information that I got, it was cheap.
Okay.
So everything's ever changing, and he explained to me a little more about NFTs. I mean, I know what an NFT is, but I didn't really understand the significance of why.
It's a little bit more than a picture, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, because you look at it, you just say, what's the average person say? The same thing I said when I heard about NFTs. Well, I can just screenshot that, and now I've got a picture of it.
Yeah.
But it's so much more beyond that people, and that's kind of what you were explaining to me, and it's about you're basically investing in a brand or in a community that you feel is going to continue to grow in value or is a valuable community.
Sure. So
In a sense.
So for all of us that don't know,
yeah. Please ask the questions.
What's NFT?
Non-fungible token is what it stands for. So
Do you know what that means?
So
Not trying to be
No.
So, like, Bitcoin is a fungible token because I can take a Bitcoin and I can exchange it for another Bitcoin.
Okay.
Non-fungible means you're the one and only.
All right.
You can't exchange it for another similar one like
Okay,
that.
got it.
So Rick,
Yep.
you are non-fungible.
Thank you.
You're a one of a kind.
One
Rick
and
is not.
only.
You're a non-fungible human.
Yeah. So
You're
like,
not an NFT.
NFTs have been
I
around
mean, you are
since,
an NFT.
since 17, and they first kind of came out. It was called Crypto Kitties, is what it was, and I was confused. So I probably like most people start with Bitcoin, right? Because that's the only one you hear about mostly in the news, and it kind of gets everything's painted with a large brush and just called Bitcoin, right? Like so, cryptocurrency. Yeah, there's Bitcoin that is a cryptocurrency, and it can do all this different. It
So
can't do a
at
whole
one
lot.
point was Bitcoin an NFT when it first started?
No,
No, it was designed to be a store of value.
because
and
Bitcoin you
exchange.
can exchange it for another Bitcoin.
No,
An
that's so-
NFT is one of a kind. You can't exchange it for another NFT that's just like it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Just
I understand what you're saying, but since I'm not in crypto, it's kind of
Well, it's like you can exchange a dollar bill for another dollar bill.
Sure.
But if you say that this seashell is worth something, there's not going to be, or like this snowflake is worth something, there's no snowflakes that are exactly the same.
Right.
There you go.
well, but going back to the cryptocurrency and like how it's kind of moving into this NFT world and why that's like caught in fire, so to speak, is like so you got cryptocurrencies where they're just kind of trading for goods and services, right? Like that's what the idea is, or a store of value. But there are a lot more than that. They're like kind of networks. So Bitcoin is a network of a trusted, you're supposed to have this trust system of currency, right, and store of value, so you can exchange it and it can't be hacked, so to speak, right? Well, I didn't understand Ethereum really. I had a friend into that for a while, but Ethereum's kind of where like yes, it is like Bitcoin, it can be exchanged, but think of it as like an internet token. So like they build on it, and like I was saying earlier on the Web3 thing with the MetaMask and stuff like that. So you're just kind of like, and again, I'm no web designer. I'm learning as I go here, so it's hard for me to even explain sometimes. But kind of where the direction it's taking is like people are building on this network. So people are building these NFTs, so to speak, on this digital network, this blockchain. So they're saying, all right, this is one of a kind, and now you stick it on the blockchain because that's this immutable, ledger system of ones and zeros and a balance sheet. So it just now you're putting this one of a kind item onto a super secure network, essentially. If you can still follow me on that, if I'm not talking in circles yet. So yeah, the CryptoKitties thing to me was like this weird craze. I didn't get it, but people were selling pictures of these cats. And Dan, if you want to just type in what CryptoKitty is, and,
CryptoKitty. Let's take a look at that.
and then you can see like how silly it is, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Well, I guess it was like the first time people were trading them around. Like,
Is it like a
trading
Hello
cards.
Kitty?
Sure.
So when people first started, because I heard about CryptoKitties back in the day, but I didn't really pay because I was still trying to wrap my brain around Bitcoin and figuring that out, right?
Exactly.
So was it something that when it was first traded was like Bitcoin, where like people trade them for a penny and like
exactly.
Okay.
Like, so
The power of being ahead of something, man.
It's so weird. Yeah. I remember this just like
Wow.
it like killed the network.
Wow.
It's the front flat facing ones. It's not that like,
You like
cartoony.
those are worth millions.
Some of them.
So
I don't
let
know.
me ask you a
Some
question.
Rick's like,
This one right here too, right?
No.
Oh.
No. Go back to
it's like art. Let someone
it's
explain to
like
you
the
why
blue
it's
one in the
valuable.
middle, blue one at the top.
This one at the top.
The blue one.
In the
Which one? This
middle.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That design.
This is okay. What about it?
That's a crypto kitty. So I guess people were like, these came out and they were just like made on the blockchain. It was like kind of one of the first projects, I believe. One of the first art
It
projects.
was like kind of like digital art on a blockchain.
Yeah, and people were just trading them like, oh, this is fun, this is cool, this is new, like,
Yeah.
So
Just something new.
And
I used to trade garbage pail kids cards.
See?
Did you
So-
used to do that too?
Make it digital, same thing, dude. So you understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
That's
that's
the
all it
basis.
is.
That's all it is, dude.
What about like? Is it like sports cards? Like you pass
Yeah.
them out?
yeah, it's
Yes,
just collectibles.
yes.
A lot of this.
So
starts
you
as a
own the
collectible.
property instead of you owning that one of a kind Babe Ruth baseball card. You digitally own that.
Yeah,
So
you've got a
so
record
you,
of it
yeah,
on the
you're
blockchain
you're the
now.
owner of that
Like your-
now.
your
now
address.
now it's digital instead of physically holding it.
So they're all one of a kinds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no. I mean, I'm sorry. The non-fungibles, yeah. That would mean one of a kind. So
Is that
yes.
Yes.
So that would be like a set. And I don't know if there's. I don't know a whole ton about crypto kitties in that specific project, but that was like the first one.
Hey guys,
Dan's already like he can't keep a straight face.
Like, what did this show become?
It's like every time we mention something, we're like poop, poop, poop.
so like somebody,
The legislation system.
I'm
Poop.
trying to get it down here. So somebody comes up with like some drawing and they put it in a digital format and.
But Dan, it's like anything else. You have to understand why it has value and other things don't.
So
And
what is
that's
the
really what
community
it's
like?
about.
Maybe
Okay,
100,000 people
so
that
why?
do this stuff.
So this is interesting. So OpenSea
He's
is
getting
like
to it.
is like the eBay of NFTs.
okay?
There's a couple different platforms like OpenSea, Nifty Gateway. They kind of have their own like categories of things that
Like-
they do.
Yeah.
Like some are more, you want to call it
The-
high end.
the first Mount Gov.
Gox.
Gox, sorry,
There
the
you go.
first Mount Gox. Yeah.
But it's just like different exchanges.
The first exchange system for crypto got hacked. Anyways, go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's do that part 3.
Whole nother
So,
story.
so,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's talk about something here for a second. All right, we got NFTs,
are
got all this stuff.
talking
What
about
if somebody?
We are. You just
I
don't
got
know
a
what the hell we're
question.
saying.
I got a question. No, I do.
Ask us.
What if somebody can hack into your NFT?
You can't.
Why?
You can't.
You got to hack the blockchain. How are you going to do that?
You can't.
You can't-
hack blockchain.
You can hack anything if it's
No,
connected.
no,
to,
dude,
listen,
dude.
if it's connected to somewhere electrical and there's an internet.
We
and
don't
it's
have
there,
time to explain to you,
Hey,
dude.
no, it's going to get hacked.
Okay, fine.
Okay. He
Okay.
he knows more than us, man.
So you wanted numbers.
No-
you wanted
no
numbers
worries.
on how you want some stats that'll blow your mind. So OpenSea is like this network, this exchange, and that's been what's.
Is that on the dark web?
No.
Oh.
Shut up, man.
So if you want the numbers, that maybe you'll be impressed that
You're ruining my gig, bro.
last
Who's gig?
month. The month before. So August was the first month. They did $3 billion in sales. That website. So not just off CryptoKitties. That's not the thing. Go to OpenSea.
OpenSea? Okay.
OpenSea.io.
OpenSea.io. Keep talking. Go
And
ahead.
IO's the new.com.
yeah, that stands for like input output, which is like a computer thing.
Yeah.
which is kind of
OpenSea.io.
So this is like where you'd go and buy and trade all the cryptos, right? So
Look
I'm
at the
sorry,
value of
NFTs.
these things on here too, dude.
So everything
Like
trades.
hundreds of thousands.
So since they're being traded on this Ethereum network, they're being the currency and the value is traded in Ethereum. So when you see the pink thing there, that's essentially Ethereum. And Ethereum right now is at $3,900. So anytime you see these, that multiply it by 3,900.
So what's the reason why a Picasso sells for hundreds of millions and some local artist it doesn't sell for anything?
Perceived value, right?
Perceives
Intrinsic-
value
intrinsic
because
and
the
extrinsic
community of
value.
a Van Gogh is that it's worth that amount.
we all collectively agree that
So,
Van Gogh,
so if
these
you
are
want
valuable.
a Picasso, like you're buying into the fact that you're buying a Picasso.
So I got a
You see
question.
what I'm saying? But this is digital.
ahead.
Okay. So you know how there's gold and silver. Mm-hmm. A lot of people out there like that, right? You can tangibly hold it. You can put it in a safe, put it somewhere. Same with a painting. You can put it up in your wall. You put it in a safe.
You could lose it.
You could.
It could get burned. It could get
Now
stolen.
I have a tangible thing that I'm holding.
Ooh.
Right. What about this?
Hey, if tangible things are your gig,
Yeah. Do you hold all of
we
your,
got
do
we
you
got a
hold
whole
all of your-
generation doesn't
It's all
care about
digital.
anything.
Do you
Dude,
hold-
do you understand the new generation coming up? You're gonna get
Hold on.
steamrolled.
Dan, do you hold all of your money in cash?
I hold a lot of it in my safe. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your personal preference. You must not have a lot of it then.
No, I don't. Not in my
I'm
safe.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but you can't carry around like brief. I mean, maybe you're Floyd Mayweather. I don't know, but you don't. Nobody just carries around. I was like,
going up to
like,
the M to bet.
I was like, actually, people do carry around like millions
Yeah,
of dollars.
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to wrap it where it's like people are like, there's probably some people thinking this is some skepticism here with this
Of course.
Because they don't understand it.
Well, I
No, that's what
understand,
we're
but you
trying
got to
to-
understand. You got to get both sides of it.
Yeah,
There's people
yeah.
out there that might say, well, why would I buy
We
this
want those questions.
versus buying a Picasso painting?
So NFT, non-fungible token, right? That
'Cause
this
I said
can-
so.
You can think of this as like now that you can put this art on the blockchain, so to speak, people are able to digitally autograph that essentially and say, this is a real one. This was I'm the creator of this. I signed this on the blockchain that this was mine and this is authentic, and I'm selling this version of it to
And there's
you.
a whole market for it, so you can
Yeah.
continue to sell that down the road. And like he mentioned the other day, is you can have it on it. So like, say you're an artist and you create an NFT, you can have it in the blockchain so that it's programmed so that every time that digital art gets sold, even down the future, you can get copyrights for
Only until it gets hacked, though.
it. But right, you were saying that. So
marketplace will
so
make
basically,
money.
basically, you sell a Picasso, you only get the sale from that Picasso, but you can have it in the rights on this. That every time it gets
Picasso
sold,
got paid once.
yes,
Each painting, right?
You can have it now so that Picasso gets paid every single time it
Yeah,
gets sold
it's
from
like-
one person
Yeah,
to
but
the
you got to
next.
have a
It's
community that
royalties.
buys into this, right?
There is. They're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, who's the community for this?
Everybody.
People
Me.
with a lot of money and smarter than you? No.
No.
There's a
It's-
community
it's-
for it, man.
It's growing every day.
Yeah.
So it's a month before, OpenSea is like pretty much doubled every month in traffic. And from 60,000 wallets, they did half a billion. So $500 million with 60,000 unique wallets. So that's a very, very low number of people moving that money around. And then it doubled. So then you did, 120,000 people doing $1 billion in transactions.
Literally by the month, you're
And now
costing
it's-
yourself.
And now it's like triple that to
Well-
first $3 billion month. They have like 37 employees.
Dude, and
So they can't even scale
there's
fast enough.
what 5% of the world is cryptocurrency. Think about how much smaller percentage even do NFTs in this
Yeah, so
community.
you're
world.
talking like this is growing like by the billions. And it's
Yes.
like something like a half
So
a
look,
percent of the
let me
Ethereum
ask you
networks
this,
on this.
and I'm just curious, this being a real.
Half, dude?
I'm
Yeah.
somebody that's
like half percent.
doesn't understand this, right? Somebody out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways it seems like because of internet that people are trying to figure out how to not currency, but get money or get some type of
Everybody's
asset.
hustling.
Yeah, everybody's hustling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say, look, we're not going to use the dollar. We're going off of not using the government system as far as that's how we're going to. Is that not true with these EFTs as well?
NFTs.
Or
So,
NFTs?
it's just
EFTs?
That's a
You think
different
it's a stock?
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just where
We're
we
not
decide
NASDAQ
where we
anymore,
de-
son.
It's a growing community where it's like
Yeah.
look up CryptoPunks. This will
CryptoPunks?
Yeah,
Let's take a look at
CryptoPunks.
this.
So these are kind of like one of the considered the OGs.
So while he's looking that up, question:
Yeah.
Have any of these artists? The artist is getting paid every time it moves,
So-
whatever that
yes.
amount is. Has any of these artists died, passed away, and what's happened to their?
Literally, this shit's like since March. It's like taken off.
Dude,
So
it's like
no-
6
nobody-
months old.
Nobody's
Nobody
hardly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
No one's had a chance to die yet.
Hey, this is like my son does this stuff. It's
Yeah,
Roblox.
So this is 8-bit block.
Yeah.
Type
This
of
is
art.
Roblox, right?
Yeah.
So Roblox.
It's coding.
I got-
It's teaching
I got-
kids to code.
I got fun numbers on Roblox since you're familiar on that too.
Because my
it's like-
son
Here's
does
where
this.
here's
so
where
See, this is what I'm saying.
this is where's Waldo. Where do we find
So
Waldo?
Dan, think about Dan, think about what you just said. How old's your son?
He's 11 now.
And you said my son does this. NFTs already, basically.
Yeah, that's
I'll
where
have
things
him
are
create
going.
an NFT, and I'm not going to work anymore. That's
There
what's
you
going to
go.
happen. So
Well, anybody can create an NFT, but it's got to be worth something.
One of those sold this morning to a guy named Pranksy
yeah.
for it was like $3.8 million.
Wow.
For one of
It
those.
was like I think one of the green ones or something like that. But yeah.
I can see steam rolling out of his ears right now.
This
dude.
one right here. This one right here.
I don't know if it was that one specifically because they're all unique, right? But
It's
it
like
was one
art. Why
along
would,
those
Well,
lines.
I
why would
get
someone
it.
pay $10 million
They're-
for a
they're
straight
different.
line on it?
Essentially,
You know?
it's
First-
Pokemon cards or
First
whatever,
of all,
right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
understand it 100%,
Yeah.
and I don't have a problem with it. It's the same thing as baseball cards.
Yep,
It's the
exactly.
same
There you
thing
go.
as
Sure.
Exactly.
So that's just
Magic cards
that's-
or
now you've-
Pokemon
Except
cards.
you can
I
have
mean,
more control over it.
But there's
Down the-
one thing.
And you make
It's not
royalties.
tangible. Like
It is absolutely. You mean physical?
Yeah, but what in this world
can-
really is anymore, other than the house you live in and the car you drive?
So you
I
can-
mean,
that coffee you drink.
You can start moving these into like, you know, we're gonna start using them
Folgers.
for tickets, like into the Knights game or whatever. Like you're gonna get an NFT.
Yep.
You know, like with your
great example.
with your thing, and there's you can make this as creative as you want because you're the one who
Wait,
writes.
wait. So you said whoever's selling the ticket, like let's just use Raiders.
That's how you don't get hacked, right? Is you make an NFT.
So you got Raider,
don't
you
get
got,
hacked.
you got Raiders season tickets.
so-
You want to make sure
so
that
you-
Raiders season ticket can't get counterfeited or scout, whatever it is.
So you put it on the blockchain.
You put it on the blockchain.
And you make it an NFT. This is the one-of-one seat ticket for this specific spot.
So that
it's
shows
just-
you have
it's a
you're the
more-
ownership.
How does somebody not get into a blockchain though?
Look at-
Just
I love
explain that
hearing
to me.
that. I love hearing
Explain
that.
it.
Now
that-
I get
ex-
it.
I love
now
this.
I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
This
good
is-
idea.
this
That's
is
a
what-
good
Dude,
idea.
isn't it? Like,
makes
that's
me
what I'm
happy.
saying. Yeah, right?
This is what makes
Because when
me
he was
happy.
doing the same thing to me at lunch the other day, I was like, "Ooh!" That's why I tweeted. I go, "Dude,
And you
life
can do
changing
this with
NFT."
fucking anything.
There
Oh,
you
sorry.
go.
Dude,
Excuse
yes.
me.
Yeah,
100%.
So now we're securitizing things in a more open and
So you're
transparent way
taking
for
so-
everybody.
I got a
You're
question
taking
though,
something
guys.
that already existed and you're making it
Hey,
better.
listen,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure this out. So why would it not be able to get hacked?
Why? Because it's on the blockchain.
Okay,
Okay,
but
that's-
that's not a
wait,
good
wait,
enough
wait,
excuse
wait,
for me.
wait. So-
I need something that says
Then I have
hey,
to go
there's
back and exchange-
security wall or firewall that's just bulletproof.
Yeah. So
That's a blockchain.
I understand, but I want
what is,
reference.
what is the most secure network you're familiar with?
most secure network?
Yes.
That you're familiar with.
He
Probably
doesn't
my,
even know what a network is.
probably. What is a network?
He's like my safe in my garage. You know, like,
Yeah,
that is-
I only
blockchain-
network. I only network with my sphere. So
Yeah. This network right here is the most secure.
Yeah.
We're in
let me
this
say
room,
this.
you know.
So I do a lot of stuff with people's credit scores, credit
Yeah.
information, credit reports. That's
So,
pretty solid.
Let me put it to you this way: you would, in order to hack it or do whatever it is, you would have to take the most powerful computer in the world right now and times it by like 5,000 for it to even make a dent to be able to
Can
hack
it still be hacked?
Any,
Not
No.
really.
sure, you can say anything can be hacked.
hacked.
If we're gonna go to anything,
mean-
we could go down a line of what ifs, but
Could
essentially,
could the
this is
world
the-
end tomorrow?
I'm just
Yeah, but
I'm just curious. Do you actually know how a blockchain is constructed?
No, actually, I don't. So can you explain that to me, Preston?
Sure. So I got into mining. I've been in Bitcoin for a while. Just when I say Bitcoin, the overall blockchain network technology, right? Just that's probably a better way to say it these days. It's like how we have websites. Like nobody, you go back to the '90s. Like
Preston,
yes.
how's blockchain
Okay, sorry.
constructed?
So it's a network of computers that are based all around the world that are constantly solving these problems. The mathematical equation for Bitcoin is like a problem, right? I don't know exactly how the Ethereum blockchain works, but it's along those same lines. There are miners. It's proof of work is what it's called. So the proof of work is when these
Okay.
supercomputers solve the problems.
Okay.
So you want
here's,
And that's how they get the reward
Here's
is-
how a blockchain is constructed. So what you have, take the cube that you do like this with. What's that
Rubik's
called?
Cube?
Rubik's.
Take Rubik's cube. Okay, Rubik's cube holds data. All right, and that block.
that's a good example, man.
This
Yes.
is great.
That is a good
Yeah.
example.
So each one of these squares holds information, okay? And once the cube is filled up, this cube goes and becomes one square in another block.
And that gets added to another block.
And that gets added
exact-
to another block. And here's the thing.
That's why they call it circle chain.
The information is not all the information is contained in any one of those squares. You would have to be able to find what you needed in this square, in this block.
Solve this problem to
and-
solve that
and
problem.
To solve
and
that
solve
problem,
that
to solve this problem, to find this, to find this. It's
Not
split
so. In
everywhere.
order to do that financially, it will bury you. So why would you go about doing something that's going to make you lose?
Well,
and you never actually
you're
know
you're
where it
hacking
ends.
something to make money,
and-
not lose money.
And no one person is like solving the problem
Yeah.
by itself. So that's why
it's
like
it's
everybody
a whole
around-
network of computers around the entire world. So
No-
there's
no-
not one person that can hack it, not
Not-
one
not
person
one-
that can influence
there's-
it, not one person.
Yeah, so it's just a democracy.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's not a corporation out there that
No,
would hire
it's-
a bunch of people
it's a democracy
to create develop,
of-
to develop
it's a democracy of computers
software
throughout the world.
that could literally find that out, almost like a wormhole.
You're going to need
That's going to be
You're going to need what is it called? Quantum computing.
Yeah.
essentially. And we're
And,
not there
and
yet,
probably by that time, the blocks it'll be
Yeah.
So explain what's going on with the Raiders ticket, because that's confusing to people that don't know. So explain that, Brett. You brought it up.
Okay, so basically, say you get season tickets for a Raiders game.
Get him, Brett.
Okay,
Look at
so
him.
here's what's
Right
going to
after
happen, man.
lunch.
So the first part.
We're gonna get him, brother.
All right.
Chew him up, Brett. Chew him up.
All right, clear your head.
Hulk Hogan here, brother.
Clear your head and be ready to have your mind blown, bro. Blown. All right. So here's what happens with cryptocurrency. No. So basically, say you have season tickets to a Raiders game.
Yeah.
So, those can be scalped, they can be counterfeited, they can be all these things, whatever it is. You essentially have it in an NFT, which says that you are the one and only. It shows digitally you are the one and only owner of that ticket.
It's title of that ownership. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that serves as your proof that you're the owner. It's stored on blockchain. You just scan it when you go in, and
It knows. It's like what everyone's doing with facial recognition.
Yes,
it's like your own,
same thing.
It's your own,
So you got
identity.
like an image that just kind of
so you
show
can do that
and
with
it's like,
concert
oh.
tickets. You can do that with anything.
Right.
So, and also you can add ownership to it, which is what's interesting, right? Well, I guess that's what we're talking about. But like, think about if okay, so I'm the Raiders, and I want to sell tickets. I'm going to sell, pick your team, right? Let's not just say the Raiders. But
No, let's say the Raiders because it's
just
Las
the Raiders.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'm not a Raiders fan, but
yeah.
let's
Go-
just say it.
Anyways, go ahead.
So I want to sell 60,000 tickets, right? That's what it is. So you could also do a thing where like you own a percentage of the team by buying these tickets, and like okay, so
Green
they
Bay
got-
Packers.
so- yeah, that's where I'm going with it.
No, actually,
So
Yeah.
I'm a Raiders fan, but because the Vegas is here, like when they were in Oakland, like I was like a big Raiders fan there too.
Mm-hmm.
But when they came to Vegas, I really started to become a Raiders fan. So go ahead. I just want to put that out there.
no,
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Go ahead.
so you could say like, all right, if you buy these, the PSL, right? So you get the right to all of those tickets in that stadium and whatnot, and then you can buy the tickets or they go on the other market, right? So essentially, you kind of like create this network within itself that you could trade within, and it would be like a very secure, like its own.
Oh, remember that game from so and so, and he had that touchdown catch? That's a memorable game. I want to have the ticket from that memorable game, so I'm going to buy it, and someone's going to trade it who has that NFT.
And they can send you stuff because like
Yes.
it'll be like on your online address essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like your address, that's what it's called, your wallet address, and they can just airdrop you like the ticket to
Yep.
each game, and it could come with like a special memory or a
Yeah.
video.
Oh,
of-
you're a
of-
season ticket holder. Now it comes with 10% discount off of.
Now you got perks on everything
Yes.
else, and
Yep.
you can get dropped.
And it's all on the
free
blockchain.
memorabilia and stuff like that, and then you could trade that memorabilia on the blockchain and have like ownership to that.
So I understand. I got the concept now. I understand it. Okay. New question, or kind of the same thing. Security. I invested in a company called Veriglyph, and this was a couple of years ago because there's a problem of still being able to prove who the person is and so on and so forth. Are you basically saying that they've overcome that and that you can digitally be secure in what it is that you're buying, and that, or we still have somewhere to go with that?
Every project, let's just call it a project, like the CryptoPunks project, is different than something I'm involved in, which is Bored Apes. So it's up to like you got to. It's like you're looking and investing in.
I
any
love your
company.
ape, by the way.
Does anything
Great looking ape.
that you millennials do have just a regular name other than Crypto Kitties and Bored Apes and
People are.
The excitable apes, those guys are real MFers. You want to go with the
you
board
want me to
ones.
get into? I can talk about DeFi and Sushi Swap and Pancake
Oh my
Swap too.
God.
So like, there's just so much.
Uniswap's getting investigated. Do you see that?
It's
yeah,
always
dude.
something.
Uniswap's.
You
Yeah.
gotta. It's just a matter of like doing your research and trying to understand the team. And there's like all these things called white papers out for every project. Essentially, it's like their business model and what they're planning on doing and their roadmap of how they're planning to execute and what they're going to do at 10%. At 20%, at 30%. So
By
you're-
this date,
you're you're just like, by the time this transacts this much dollars amount, we'll be able to, afford this for the community and things like that. So it is very much like you're just buying into a community.
ICOs were the kings of it.
ICOs were a little scammy.
I know, but you know how like I've got a white paper and like that was like how they sold their
and there was
ICOs
like
out of a
thousands
piece
of ICOs coming out
Dude,
every
yeah,
day.
right?
So like it was just like the internet.
You want me
craze,
to buy your coin based off an idea? Does it do anything? No, it's just an idea right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and we'll come up with something later, like after we raise the money.
I know,
and
right?
That's the same as like what am I thinking of? Those companies where they're just like, hey, we're raising money and we're going to go buy another company.
A fundraiser.
SPAC.
No, it's yeah, right.
SPAC. Yeah.
I thought it was.
Well, I
something
mean,
else, too.
What's that?
I thought it was something else too, but anyway, yeah, no. So it's just
Hey,
that
so,
was different.
So here's the question. All right. So if I'm out there and I'm looking at, okay, should I get started in this? Okay. How does somebody want to get started into something like this? Is it you got to get into a community? Like, what is it?
Well, Reese Witherspoon. If you would have told me last year, but I would have retweeted.
Dude, I saw that.
Reese Witherspoon. I would have laughed my ass about an NFT or about an Ethereum purchase. I would have laughed my ass off because I was in no headspace to even I didn't really understand Ethereum or why it was important. Who used it? Now I'm a user of Ethereum. Like I acquire Ethereum so that I can buy.
What can you buy?
Yeah.
What can you buy with Ethereum or cryptocurrency right now? What? How far out can you buy things with?
You can buy an NFT.
Yeah.
You have to use Ethereum.
Okay,
It's on that blockchain.
besides an NFT or an EFT.
You can use it to pay for stuff if
Yeah.
they're willing to accept it. You could Dunkin' Donuts accepts Litecoin.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So is this going to be something where you're going to start to see everybody
Massive
transition
option.
to this?
Massive option. So like a crypto, if I know somebody has a CryptoPunk and I've made a money, you can trade a CryptoPunk for anything.
Wait, what's a CryptoPunk, man? You're losing me
these,
here.
right?
Oh,
These little 8-bit things that your kid probably plays with. So those are where.
Don't they look like punks, dude?
The cheapest one you can buy is right around 100 Ethereum right now. So multiply that by 3,900.
300, yeah. What was that?
Call it
390,000.
about 400
About
grand.
400,000 is the cheapest one of those.
not to discredit the NFT. I'm not.
what do
I'm
you
not.
think of that, Rick?
But I have a question. Okay, so is it almost like
It's out of my price
you
range.
get
I
those
want to
people?
say that and look at Rick.
You guys get those people where they're like out and they're looking for like a certain coin, like coin collectors. Is it the same thing?
Okay, so a lot of these, think about the people that own these. So knowing your audience, right? So the people that own these are the people that are building these networks and are early investors in crypto and are trying to build out these new networks with these ideas and stuff like that. So having one of these is like, you're probably an online person and all of your work is done online. Like maybe you go meet people here and there, but it's your identity and you're in all these different chat rooms, talking with people across these different platforms. You having something that's non-fungible that shows that this is me is really important to them. It's also like, how important is it to walk into a very good business meeting with a Rolex to certain people, or get out of a Ferrari, in a business meeting, taking them to a great restaurant for lunch.
It's a stat. Yeah,
So it's a status ego.
and another thing
it's signaling, right? It's call it status, call it signal, or whatever.
This sounds like a different language.
And
to
here's
me.
another thing he made.
You're not that old.
Another point he made.
That's how fast it's moving.
Well, another point he made at lunch the other day too was, so what you're going to see in the future, and I agree with you, is companies associate themselves with their own
This is
own
what
NFT.
Visa just bought.
Right.
So Visa just bought one of these.
Let me give you an example.
Visa just bought one of these.
Visa just bought one of those.
Dan, let me give you an example that he made to me the other day. It's like, okay, so Subway, right? Subway's a brand, it's an image, they have all these things. So if they had an NFT like this, some character to represent them, so every time you saw that, you associate it with Subway, right? Because Subway's susceptible to this. They hired Jared.
Yeah.
Jared.
I was going to say that Jared's up there in the right corner.
So that's Jared, but little Jared here likes child porn, and he gets arrested and goes to prison.
Yeah.
You will never have to worry about Jake from State Farm having to get a call
So when does
at 2
this
o'clock in
end?
the morning because Jake was drunk and killed someone or
When does
whatever
this
it was.
end though? When does this end though? Because look, obviously this is just created out of nothing, just like we do with
Art,
dollar.
music, this
Right?
podcast.
Well, let me explain. Right. Right. This podcast.
Touche.
I'm ready for
Hey,
this.
so
Love it, man.
punk. No. Listen, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
combat,
please.
but like
You're a punk, Dan.
I am a punk. So why would somebody want to buy this? Right.
Because-
So like, look, let's say
Because it's given value.
I understand
Next
that.
question.
Listen, let me explain. You're saying this is 7.57 million? Is that what it's being sold for?
That is what
The value is.
That is what it's sold for. Yes.
5.7 million.
Those are the recent sales, largest sales, all-time top sales right there.
So
For a JPEG, what do you think of that?
yeah, you're selling JPEGs
And you can go.
for $5 million.
And here's where the
But
problem
it's the
is.
right JPEG.
Here's where the problem is, right? So you
Yeah.
can go copy that, and you can go create a Twitter profile or a Facebook profile or whatever, right? And try and act as that person.
So that's your brand.
Now-
That's
But those have a given status symbol. Within a certain
What
group
brings
of people,
value to
right?
this though? Consumer confidence or just consumers?
So you automatically start the game with a status symbol
Yeah. So
based on the
you're-
community you're buying into.
Yeah. So
correct?
like essentially, like I have a Bored Ape. That's what it's called. I bought into it when it was 1 Ethereum, and I'm still holding it.
Hold on. When did you buy it?
May 1st.
And how much were you being offered the other day when we were having lunch?
I'll tell you.
So
right
he
now.
bought it for what, 2,500.
What's the highest?
And he had a bid the other day when we were at lunch for like 120,000.
Okay, so these are all for sale, right?
Really?
These are all for sale.
And he wouldn't take it because they were lowballing them because it was worth
so
like
here's-
175.
This is my online portfolio, I guess you call it, right?
So you get quite a few.
Yeah. So I've got so this is my Bored Ape,
Yeah.
and
Go ahead and hold it up for the camera if you want to show.
I'm not sure how to.
I'll just do it real quick. I don't want to hurt
You
it.
could
So there
probably
you go.
scroll. You could scroll on it or whatever.
See, there you go.
Or you could pull it up on yours.
Well,
if you
yeah.
want to search for it, but.
Go ahead. We got it right here. All right,
Where's
so
it-
go
where's the
ahead.
camera?
We'll put it over here. There you go.
But you can scroll down and it shows like the offer for 34, I think, and a half.
Yeah,
So you
scroll
created
down.
this.
I did not create it. I acquired it.
He acquired it.
You acquired it.
He bought in a community that was selling them, but they're only selling a limited number of
There's
them.
only 10,000 of these, right? I
This
guess you
ape
put it-
doesn't
So
look,
you're
this ape doesn't
you're-
look bored. He looks
you're
like
basically
he's in pain.
buying something that you can associate your online brand, persona, everything, and identify into one unit, one subject. That.
I want.
can't-
And you can
see
create a
what that
whole
says.
world. So everything that you're known about in the future, digitally, online, your whole identity.
What is yours?
wrapped
What do you
around
think
something
yours
like
will look like, Brett?
that. I don't know, man. I thought about creating something for realtors.
So yeah,
there's not
everybody-
community.
Everybody's first thought is like, okay, well, how do I make one, and how do I just like?
Yeah,
cash
but it's
out,
got to
right?
be worth.
But
like
you got everybody. But you could go make tennis shoes, right? But
Yeah.
can you sell them as well as Nike? You
Yes.
know?
Yep.
But like, we believe Nike's a good brand, so we want to buy into it, and you can own shares of it. Essentially, you're like able to buy into these communities. So like, if you want to be bigger into these world, now these are niche communities, right? Like
Yeah.
super small, same like very specific type of people. They're growing this brand new network. It's just like growing the internet in the 90s, right? Like there wasn't exactly everybody and their mom doing it. But
why do people
eventually-
want to buy Nike? Because they've built a brand
Yeah.
and a whole brand around Nike. That's why you
But
want to buy a Nike versus
Everybody wanted to buy a website, right? Well, tell me how come.
So here's the question. Here's the
Pets.com
question I
didn't
got:
work.
is when do you think the government's going to step in?
I don't know. I think that they should be scared, and they probably are, and they're trying to, they just kick something out of a.
You know what?
bill.
I'm going to take our Constitution and NFT it. What's government going to do then? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like
I
everybody.
looked over at Preston. Preston, you got an answer for that?
So that's what's going to be interesting. We're bridging. This is a brand new frontier, right? And you've
Yeah.
got all these IP rights. So that's important. Like owning your IP rights. That's why I bought a Bored Ape. So CryptoPunks, the creators of CryptoPunks is Larva Labs, and yeah, I know, right? So
He just shakes his head.
it's all just jokes and.
Don't
and
worry, they're
memes
only
and
worth
stuff.
billions.
Yeah.
And we're out here working
So
every day.
they did not.
Hey, what about oozing mouth? Did they got that one?
Probably. Yes. That could be your NFT. Yeah.
Mine's going to be jaw dropper.
So these companies did not give the purchasers. They actually gave all these CryptoPunks away for free. You just had to go claim one with your wallet. So
Yeah.
We
We got to wrap it up.
yikes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we'll wrap it up. No, you guys can talk about this all day. So one last thing is this, man, is thanks for giving us insight. Can somebody buy? So let's talk about crypto in general. It's going up, right, Brett?
Yeah, it's going up. It was above 50 the other day. I think it went down to 49. Now it's back up to 50. So we'll see. I mean, you know as well as I, man, it's crypto. Anything can happen.
The market cap's like 2.5 trillion or something.
Yeah,
like that,
2.5 trillion now, so
but
it's-
it still seems like a baby.
Yep.
It's gonna
Still
go.
with only, 5% of the world using.
It's only the size of Apple.
So basically, the people using cryptocurrency right now is the amount of users the internet had in 1997. So if you could have got into the internet in 1997 knowing what it's done now, that's the way you got to look at it.
They say the best time to buy crypto was 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
Is now.
And you can say that.
What
for
about-
Well, it's 50,000.
Well,
What does that matter
Let
if
me
it goes
ask
to
you
a
a question.
million?
In 10 years, is it going to be the third best time?
Good question.
It's always
We'll have to wait and
it's
see.
like when's a good time? When's a good time to buy a house when you can afford one?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to
same.
ask, because we got to get out of here, because I got a lot of stuff to do today.
Oh, you do?
I do. Rick, question for you, buddy.
Mead.
Ready?
Rental sector. Can you give us a quick rundown? I know that rents have just gone out off the charts. As far as people looking for rents and looking for places, what's going on there?
Man, everything is the same. Well, actually, it's slowing down a little bit. And I mean, microcosm. Again, like I said earlier, I got one property, $1,700 a month, and it's been on the market for 3 days. That's unusual.
Yeah.
So, but everything is still lightning
Stressful.
fast. Still lightning fast.
Yeah, it's going quick. I think that Is that going to stop? Is that market going to start to settle down as well? Because I feel like where there's more properties coming on the market. Look, it's not being biased. It's just general. I mean, we're given facts. We're given information. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. So
as long as we keep expanding every week, I mean, just the last 2-3 weeks, we've seen it expand almost on average about 7% a week. If it keeps doing that, then eventually it's not going to be oversaturated. But yeah, you're going to start slowing down.
Yeah, I bring that up because I think a lot of people look at like realtors and the information that realtors give is like, oh, it's your agenda because you're a realtor. You're going to give the right information.
I dealt with that this week. I was golfing,
right,
and we're halfway through, and the guy who joined us, we're just whatever, we didn't team up, and they assigned him to us. We're like halfway through. He's like, so you're a realtor. So I was wondering what your opinion was about the market. I start telling him, and he's like, oh, I don't think I. And I got mad. I'm like, why did you even ask me, dude?
Yeah.
Why? Like, you already had your mind made up. Why are we?
Just wanted to see if you
You just
agreed.
wanted to see, if you were on the same page.
Yeah. No, we're not on the same page because I do mine with facts. But
all right, guys, if you guys like the content, please like. We're going to continue to put out information. This is a holiday week, and everybody out there, happy Labor Day. Hopefully, you guys are safe.
Happy Labor Day, America.
Just want to say hit the like button, please. We're going to keep putting this content out and try to come from different angles. It's not always going to be just financing real estate. That's predominantly what the show is going to be about, but we brought on Preston to bring a little bit different side of it as far as EFTs, right?
NFTs.
Just play. NFTs.
Bro, this guy.
Yeah.
I like, yeah, exactly. I said that too. This guy.
Anyways, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys at the next Tuesday. I'll be here Tuesday. You guys see that. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.